Drake and Josh went well with Drake and Josh. Who would have guessed?
Bob's Burgers.
Now, what really goes well with everything is, come on, I slam, and welcome to the gym.
How could you?
Shit, now I want to look up, like, the Space Jam theme, but with One Punch spliced in. One Punch!
Come on and
slam!
I found a way.
One dunk, man.
Give me the dunk. Give me the Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin'.
I want a boneless pizza.
I want that shit boneless.
I want boneless.
You were saying like the shit got bones in it. Yeah. Don't want no bones. No bones in your shit then. Dickhead. I see what's inside. Let's play some Sonic Infinity plus Ingiano.
I found something for you.
Oh, could you? What is this? I was just about to sit and enjoy my time, and then you send me this. What is this shit? Oh god.
Do I even want to know?
Maybe. If you open up your mouth.
Alrighty. Wait a few moments and then we can get started.
Come on and slam.
What do we've got? Load up. We'll come back to silver later. Let's load someone else up.
Why have you done this to me, man?
I'm going down the Drake and Josh rabbit hole. Are you?
Yes. One second.
You said already like 5 times.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't.
Like you would sigh, go alrighty, and then nothing will happen. Bitch.
I usually say that whenever I like transition from thinking about one thing to another.
I mean, yeah. Doesn't make you less of a bitch.
Wow. Oh. Can't believe you'd be a bitch like that.
Oh fuck! Can't believe you done this.
Alrighty. Yes, I know, Emmanuel. I'm aware. You don't have to remind me. Trying to think of what we should go over first. I'm thinking probably the combat.
Wait, are we streaming?
Yes, we're streaming. I said we would get started at like 2:30, and it's like 2:33.
Oh, it's 5. I forgot it's 5:30 here. Where I am.
We've been streaming for the past like 5 minutes.
Oh, how am I supposed to know unless you say we're streaming or we're live? Well, I'm not checking your Twitch. Oh, whatever.
How dare you? It's still dirty. I need to wear my glasses more. I'm not wearing them.
It's up to you what you want to go over. Go over silver, if anything. We just whatever you want.
I'll be back in just a few minutes, guys.
Alrighty,
Sorry.
that's fine.
All right.
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep working on the project that I have open. While you're doing that.
So for anyone who's watching, what would you prefer to see first? Combat, combat, silver, or wisps? Which would you guys prefer to see? Because we got stuff to show off for all three.
Yep.
I was thinking combat first, just so we can show off the new room a bit more.
Yeah, it's also it's a nice thing to leave with. Yeah, we can start with that.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and show off the changed room.
They also have some enemies behind you, by the way.
Yeah, I know. So this here is just a little terrain area for testing terrain and foliage. That's the purpose of this location. Doesn't really have a purpose outside of that. It's just testing terrain.
Yeah, it's a nice little green area. It's kind of like that, you know, in Sonic Adventure when you're playing pinball and you get into the Nice Into Dreams section. It kind of reminds me of that, honestly.
This area has a purpose, but we'll be getting back to it.
Box. Oh shoot! A box. That's a loop.
It is. We've got the rave room here, which has been expanded upon. Now shows off each individual wisp. Each room's gonna have a room or have a wisp to themselves with obstacles and objects specific to that wisp. Like your cube, you got your little rings there.
Little baby boob up.
Little baby boobop for cyan laser. You got your thing, but we've all seen that before. But this here's just an expanded version of it.
Yeah, nice little mall so you can go shopping.
Yep. And we got a section for the Lost World wisps, as well as probably a couple of other things like expanded ideas once we get to it. But that's not going to be for a little bit. And all of this is level streamed, by the way. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. It's level streamed, which makes the debug room much more efficient to run on lower end computers.
Yeah, it's not exactly pretty since you can see the level loading and unloading, but you know, it's a debug room.
So you walk in, bam, it's loaded. You walk out, it's unloaded. So lower end PCs are going to have an easier time because there's less things loaded in all at once. Loaded, unloaded, and it does. Yeah, it doesn't look as good, but it's also a dev room, so.
And there's still many more things to be sub-leveled.
Yeah. We got the combat room, which is probably what we're gonna go for first.
Yep, it has been greatly expanded on. It looks much better now. Still mostly a showcase room.
Yeah, it's still a showcase room, as is everything else. It's gonna be expanded on even further. Fine.
I'm gonna watch your actual Discord streams on more up to date.
Yeah, probably best. We got a little place for Eggman enemies, and we got a place over here for gun enemies. And hopefully at some point in time we're going to have an area for maybe something like Iblis enemies or something like that. Over there.
Eggman will probably still have the largest share since he has the most just enemies across Sonic's history.
All different kinds of enemies here. We got the egg pawns, we got the egg fighters.
Boop. Bonk.
Bonk. So everyone should be aware of most of the abilities that we've shown off before.
We can go over them still.
He wasn't in range. We got the homing chain. Lets you chain attacks. Chain homing attack across enemies. We've got
At the cost of 10 energy per chain.
Yep. With a maximum of 5 chains, correct?
You get 5 extra hits. And it can also do single target stuff if you want to show that off.
Yeah, I don't know. I think these enemies are close enough, though.
Yeah, they may be too close together.
God damn it.
Sticky keys. Sticky keys.
I'll have to turn that off.
You could just knock one of them away, maybe.
Yeah, let's do that. So if I knock this enemy away...
Kill him.
It died.
Oh, no, almost ripped. Okay, let's try him. Oh, kill that fucker. Kill the egg fight. Oh, I was gonna say just kill the egg fighter.
Yeah, whatever. It wouldn't let me target him more than once. But the idea is that the homing chain can actually target an enemy more than once.
Yeah, it's just hard to show off because they're close together. Oh, gotta be recharged.
I'm out of energy.
Bonk, bonk.
Like so.
Yeah, it's not the fastest like single target move, but it can be used for that. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Yep. That would have been much easier to pull off.
Oh, yeah.
I know, goddamn it, I need to turn it off. It is not like the sticky keys.
Let's see what else. We still have
a lot easier to pull off on controller because you don't have to worry about the sticky keys.
Yeah, we still have the kick move also. In case anyone forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's not active right now though.
No, you get no. I mean like the regular, like the jump kick.
Oh, you mean the homing launch?
No, not that one.
The backwards kick?
Yeah, like it's not a
Didn't
homing attack
you-
modifier.
Didn't you remap that to the homing wrecker though?
No, like when you kick normally, like on the ground and you jump out of it, the windmill kick.
You're talking about the windmill
So-
kick.
Yeah, I completely forgot the name of it.
That's a completely different move. But yeah, that's still an ability we can do. Pop, pop.
Yeah, I may buff it slightly so you actually get more out of like hitting enemies that are still alive.
It might also need an extended hitbox as well. But the homing launch and the tomahawk kick, it's been balanced to it's been balanced a bit better, so now that the first initial launch doesn't send you as high.
Yeah. Like still a good hop, but it's not nearly as powerful as it was before.
Yep. And then there's the tomahawk spike, which has been nerfed. It's a lot harder to pull off now.
Yeah.
The window in which you have to hit the button to do it.
Yeah. The entire move, we have to fix that. But the entire move has been nerfed because you only do 1 damage on initial hit, but you still do 2 damage on the second one.
Yeah. So the idea is there's the homing launch and then the tomahawk spike. And the tomahawk spike is programmed to always deal twice as much damage as the homing launch did. So whatever damage you did with the homing launch, the tomahawk spike will double it essentially.
Yeah.
Is the idea. We also obviously have the momentum attack, where if you hit them, if you hold the roll button while hitting an enemy, you'll bounce forward off of them.
Yeah. We do have to. One thing I have to think about is should you be able to homing attack while rolling? Because that will make it easier to pull it off.
Maybe. God damn it.
Because that's one problem. Like you have to press the roll button while you're queuing up the homing attack.
Yeah, but that's fine. We'll mess with that later. Time for the new shit.
It just sounds like you snore some new shit.
I've got sinuses right now.
Oh, not meth. Oh.
Anyway, the new move, which we showed off the other day, was the homing wrecker. A move that digs you into an enemy and deals massive damage to a single target. But if you don't kill them, you can pop off of them early. Where the hell did that? Oh, there you went.
Bye, have a wonderful time.
Bye, have a great time.
Yeah, I still have to configure the knockbacks correctly because they kind of just go wherever they want. So
Yeah. You can cancel it early if you want, and if you do, you'll hop off and then do a drop dash into it.
yeah, right now this is bound to the crouch button. So B for Xbox 360 or Control for keyboard and mouse. If you hold down the button, you'll continue to like grind into the enemy, saw into the enemy. If you let go, you'll bounce off, and you actually queue up a what's I call it, a drop dash essentially. So when you hit the ground again, you'll dash in the direction of where the enemy is.
Yep. So you'll automatically drop dash into the enemy if you decide to let go of the ability early, dealing a little bit of extra damage and putting you into a rolling target.
Yeah. It's not configured correctly in this build, but in the build I'm currently working on, the how do you put it? The launch off distance is better configured, and the drop dash will also properly increase its power the more you charge it up. You charge it up by spinning into the enemy.
How's it going, Tiger? Yeah, don't worry about being late. We literally just we went over things we've already gone over before. We are just now getting to the new stuff.
Yep. Also, I was thinking, I just realized that instead of homing wrecker, we could just call it homing saw. It's a more of a boring name, but I kind of realized that compared to the other names, homing wrecker is a bit edgy, I guess. I know now's the time to get into that, but
now is not the time to talk about that. We'll talk about that later. I'm not too concerned about the name right now. I'd rather just move on. But that's the new ability. Some people were a little bit confused about it. It doesn't flow into other abilities as well as some of the other abilities that we do have. Like you can combo a homing chain into a homing launch pretty easily, but you can't really combo a homing wrecker into anything. Just because
except for rolling.
Yeah, except for a roll attack, obviously, or a drop dash.
Yeah, and you can angle it. Like, you can change the direction while you're spinning.
But that's because the homing wrecker is meant to be a finisher move than anything else.
Yeah, because the way we figured it, speed characters are, they're good at being speedy and stuff, but when it comes to, especially when it comes to single target moves that are really powerful, that's less so their strong point. They can still do it, but it usually comes at significant downsides. One thing, at least when I was trying to make these moves, I try to make it so that each move had some give and take. If some more explicit than others, like for instance, the homing chain requires a good bit of energy to pull off, and you're vulnerable while you're charging it up. So there's that. The homing launch impedes your movement for a period of time and also stops off your momentum. And the homing chain, not the homing chain, the homing wrecker, does require a bit of energy, but also puts you in a, I won't put you in a vulnerable state, but puts you in a rolling state immediately afterwards. So it can be a bit limiting.
So the idea that we wanted to get across with speed characters in combat is they're good at dealing group damage. They're good at spreading damage out across enemies in a group, but have a harder time dealing single target damage. They can do it, but it's not as ideal as, say, a power character, which a power character is going to have a lot easier time, dealing single target damage, dealing them big deeps, because at the end of the day, a power character is going to be better at combat than a speed character is.
Yeah, doesn't mean it's less fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anything, speed characters are much better at dodging damage directly. Well, maybe a fly character would be better at it in a more indirect sense, since they can fly over or avoid combat entirely. Speed characters can dodge and weave and homing attack to reposition quickly. Kind of think Tracer, for instance, from Overwatch. Tracer mixed with Lucio, mixed with character insert number 55.
Yeah. But some people were a little bit confused about the homing wrecker. It's supposed to be a finisher move. You're not supposed to combo out of it. You're supposed to combo into it. And it's supposed to be the one move you use to deal a chunk of damage to a single target. We are probably going to have one, maybe two more moves similar to that, where you do have a single target, a high DPS single target move. But that's not the point of a speed character, really. The idea of a speed character is, of course, dealing damage across the group of enemies, not to one single target, but we don't want to leave you out to dry still. So we're still probably going to come up with 1, maybe 2 more heavy target, or heavy single target moves.
Yes, but they will have the proper give and take. And of course, we'll balance later on. If you notice, most of the enemies we have are fairly basic. The egg pawns try to punch at you. You have the gun beetles over there that try to shoot at you, but none of the other enemies, like for instance the gun hawks, the giant weapons platforms, don't shoot at you yet. They're not fully in. They are pretty much just bullet sponges at the moment. But we are planning to greatly expand upon the enemies that you'll face so that these moves will have more of a use, and who knows, maybe we have to come up with different moves or change how moves work depending on the situation.
Yeah.
But a lot of these moves seem boring in a vacuum because all you have to do is just plink an enemy, but who knows? When an enemy has a shield or has special abilities, maybe things will become more interesting.
Let's see here. Someone, Reckless Mania asks, is there an extra menu that will enable the person to switch out of the preferred models? Switch out to the preferred models and animations for the characters. We are probably going to have an option at the end where you can probably swap in and out some of the cosmetic items of a character. But
I think we did have a hotkey for the sunglasses, but I forgot what it was.
we did have a hotkey for the shoes. But as for completely swapping out models and animations, probably not, no. If you want to have different models and animations in the engine, you're going to have to go in and change them yourselves. But we're going to try and make the models that we do have in here a bit customizable. Not insanely, but we will at least put in the options that will, allow you to compartmentalize characters. Yeah, there is a public boolean for the sunglasses. We can turn it on and off, but we don't have that mapped to a key as far as I'm concerned.
Not at the exact moment.
So, to move on to another ability that we have shown off once but not given any context to, that would be the Perch. The Perch is an ability that allows you to sit on top of an enemy and kind of just, hang out. I just realized Sonic's mouth is like wide open and it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, when I made the animation, well, first of all, I'm bad at animations, but when I made it, I didn't even consider mouth movements at all. One thing we want to clarify, the stomp is not supposed to be as powerful as it is. Right now, how it's configured, the radial damage the stomp does instantly destroys targets, which we're going to change. We just haven't done that yet.
Yeah, stomps aren't meant to instantly kill targets, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
But the idea of the Perch, to get back onto the Perch, it's a bit complicated. We're not entirely sure which direction we want to take the Perch. Obviously, if you're perched onto an enemy, one thing that we will probably more than likely keep is it allows you to it allows other enemies to become distracted and attack the target you're sitting on rather than you, is more than likely how it's going to potentially work.
Mm-hmm.
So
and one thing we'll probably... Sorry, continue.
If there was a shooting enemy or an enemy with a lance or an object or whatever, and they're going to come up and try to attack you or shoot at you, they're going to shoot the target you're sitting on rather than you.
Mm-hmm. And one thing we'll probably do is that Sonic or other characters won't take damage themselves while they're doing it. One thing that could, either when you take damage or the enemy takes damage, or when the enemy gets destroyed, you'll kind of get knocked back a bit and you'll blink for a bit, but you won't take actual damage. So it will incentivize jumping off at the last minute, for instance, of an enemy that's about to get destroyed, because realistically that's what you would do. But we won't make it too punishing. You won't get smacked by a bullet while you're sitting on it.
Yeah. We don't want to directly hurt the player if they don't manage to get off in time. But
yeah.
One-hit moves are cool, and for the stomp, if you make it so only direct hit KO, a direct hit KOs, then it would be kind of work because it isn't easy to land. We've not really taken one-hit KOs into account, but the idea of expanding combat is to kind of, make combat feel more connected and diverse. So one-hit KOs are kind of a move that has a potential of what's the word I'm looking for?
completely destroy an enemy
Yeah.
in one single hit.
Yeah. There's a word not. To make certain. What's the word for to make certain?
Guarantee.
Guarantee. Yeah.
There we go.
A move that could potentially guarantee a one-hit KO, I don't feel like fits into this very well because
you always try to do it.
It would almost always be the de facto way that you would want to go about fighting an enemy, and forcing a character to be insanely accurate to reward them with a one-hit KO would probably be the way to do it. But the thing is, if you're moving around at like, Mach 7, being accurate is going to be insanely difficult. And if you don't balance that correctly, then it could get to the point where you have to be so pinpoint accurate that the likelihood of you pulling that off is more of a hindrance than it is a help. So
yeah,
you would never want to use that move essentially.
And keep in mind, like, we are trying to make it so Affinity Plus can be played on controller. And while mouse and keyboard versus controller is always going to be a debate of like one being more accurate, one allowing for different types of gameplay, we do want the combat at least to not favor one specifically. Overall, maybe, like for instance, with controller, it may be easier to plus some button combinations and whatnot. But we don't want to make it, that would probably really heavily punish, for instance, people on controller, because it is actually really easy to be precise in terms of movement with Infinity Plus with a mouse and keyboard, but not exactly with controller. And I know we can probably touch up controls a bit to make that a bit less of a problem, but we don't want to reward being precise exactly in a Sonic game. That's not what Sonic's always been about. It's more so about timing and reflex, more so than being precise with your jumps and/or attacks. Like, imagine being this game playing like a shooter. That would suck.
Yeah. Tiger Sonic says depends on the enemy, though. It could potentially depend on the enemy. One thing that we've not really considered that you kind of just gave me the idea for are certain enemies having weak points. Like, hitting a weak point would deal extra damage. I know one thing we did consider was knocking an enemy prone could allow you to deal extra damage to it. So like a prone enemy might have double the damage dealt to it, which would incentivize you to rack up a combo, get a high combo multiplier, knock an enemy prone, and then knock it out in one fell swoop. That way it feels like you set up the situation, you had complete control of the situation, and you executed it how you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
We could probably try and do something like that. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yes, but one thing to keep in mind is, once again, like when it comes to speed characters, more so, like maybe with other characters, that could be more of a feature, like more single target heavy damage. With speed characters, like if you ever see Sonic fight, he's not really known for dealing a lot of damage to one enemy, at least easily, according to like what I've seen from comics, shows, video games. That's not exactly his bread and butter. Like, Sonic can hit hard, it just takes him, he has to build it up, you know. That's at least my vision for like how Sonic would initiate combat. So that can be, once again, that can be a feature to have massively powerful moves and stuff like that in certain circumstances, but I imagine that will be expanded upon more with power and maybe flight characters.
But to move on from that, because I think we sat on that subject a little bit too long, because we were talking about something else, you know.
Oh yeah, the perch.
The idea of the perch was to act as a second expansion to abilities. Supposedly what we could do, and this is a theory, this is just a theorization, not really something we're actually going to factually do. We want to throw this idea out, we want to see what you guys think, and if you like it, we can go move forward with it. If not, then we'll just do something else with it, or potentially scrap the idea in general. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. But the idea is that if you're perched onto an enemy, it would then modify your moveset again. So, obviously, you can modify your homing attack at the press of a button in the middle of a homing attack. An example
You can do it while winding up or while you're still heading towards the target, as long as you have the timing for it.
Yeah, as long as you have the timing for it, you can modify an enemy. Where the hell did that guy go? Holy shit.
To the moon.
He
To
went
the
on
window, to the wall.
He went on a road trip. So obviously pressing a button mid-homing attack will modify the homing attack. But the idea with the perch is that if you're in a perched mode, the buttons will once again swap and do something else. So I could theoretically, for example, what I would do to this enemy would change depending on the button that I'm pressed while I'm perched. So if I'm perched on an enemy and I hit the crouch button, maybe I would hop off the enemy and do a Lost World styled homing kick, where I would kick the enemy I'm perched on into another nearby enemy. Or maybe I could press the boost button and I could knock the enemy on its back and ride it like a sled into other nearby enemies, you know? Kind of like a body slam or whatever. Or I could press another button, you know, and do something else.
Yeah, and we could make it so that you don't have to have already perched on enemy to do these moves. As long as you're holding, for context, to do the perch right now, you have to be holding down the drift button, which for mouse keyboard is mouse click. For controller, it is right trigger, I believe.
Well, you have to press it to activate it. Like, once you've activated it, you'll just sit there. You don't have to hold the button afterward.
Yes. Well, I may change that, but depending on how we go with it, I think a good idea right now is to, as long as you're holding the button, you're in a perch state where you're going to either perch or do one of the modified moves we were just talking about. But if you're not holding it down, then you do have a default state where you either do a homing attack or you do one of the homing attack moves that doesn't have to be modified, like the homing chain, for instance, or a homing launch.
So the idea is that the perch acts as an alternate modifier. It's like the perch acts as an alternate modified set, is what it is. If I could.
Yeah, it gives you access to more moves. That's the point of it. So instead of only having 3 modifiers, you can have 6. Think of it kind of like holding down Shift, so that when you press the 6 key on your keyboard, you get a different character. That's pretty much what it is.
Actually, hold on. Let's see. First of all, remove that. I don't know what that is. Google Drawings. Let's pull it out. Let's pull out a Google Drawing here.
All right.
The song is getting drilled in my head. Yeah, sorry. So let's say we've got Sonic here. Let's make him a circle. Like so.
Boop.
And let's say he has
Thank you.
3 options here. He has a basic homing attack, a modified homing attack, and a perched homing attack. So, can I add text? I can't add text. Let's add another option here for a square, and another square here. Add another square. God damn it, I hate it when it does that.
You could just copy the other one, but that works.
So we've got another square here. This is a modified homing attack, and this is a perched homing attack. Or actually, you could just instead do a triangle to make it a bit more distinct.
Have you ever had a dream like you
So, with the modified homing attack, you have 3 options, obviously. You could do a homing chain. You could do a homing launch. Or you could do a homing wrecker. New voice joins. Reese was always here. He was just being silent.
I always lurk.
Yeah, he was lurking.
Forever in shadows.
So, let's say we've got, like, the homing chain here. We've got the homing launch, and we've got the homing wrecker, you know. The idea is that the perch would have its own moves that it would extend off of. So we've got Sonic, and we've got the modified home attack, or we've got, let's just call this the home attack, a basic modified home attack, and a perched modified home attack is the idea. And this here just being the basic homing attack, it wouldn't really do anything. So doing a perch would, again, modify the home attack even further into different abilities, is the idea, just to visualize it.
Yep, that's basically the basics. And of course, the perch itself is a move. It's not as, it has utility, but it's not nearly as offensive as the other moves.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that by it dressing weirdly. I just mean it just doesn't. It's not meant to deal damage.
It-
Although it does have a neat little, has a neat little interaction we didn't intend for that we could show off, and we may expand upon it later.
I've shown it off before, but I mean, I could do it again.
Yeah.
The idea is that all of the basic homing attack moves, like these here, will mainly affect multiple targets. These could affect multiple targets versus these here, which would primarily affect the target that you're perched on top of. So, like again, we have the homing kick, or we have what was the other one I came up with, or like the sled attack, the idea where you knock an enemy on its back and you slide on it, and a potential third move. That's the idea. The unfortunate situation of that is that it becomes vastly more complicated. Combat becomes much more dense with a lot more inner working parts to it, which is not exactly new player friendly. But at the same time, it does make it more complicated, so people who enjoy more dynamic, more complex combat, people who enjoy that will get a lot of, enjoyment out of this system, but people who don't like that complexity will not. Which is why we wanted to present it, is like, if you guys think it's a good idea, we can go ahead and move forward, but if you think that it's too complex for the, basic person who would want to play with this or use this system, if it's too complex, then we can take the perch to a different route, essentially.
Definitely. And either way, we'll still, either direction we go with it, we'll still try to keep our original vision of what combat is and try to stick with that. The main reason we're presenting this idea is so that we can have more moves. But once again, more is not always better.
Yeah,
some people want more, some people don't want more.
We don't necessarily need a million moves, as long as the moves that we do have, mesh well with each other and give you the option to pick and choose what you want to use in certain situations. I feel like that is the goal. We don't necessarily need to add more and more moves to achieve that. But this would be an interesting way of further expanding the arsenal of what you can do inside of combat, as well as, how enemies interact with that kind of thing, like how enemies interact with certain moves and things of the such. Because one thing we've not really ever gotten into are large enemies, like tank-like enemies. Certain moves you're not going to be able to do on tank enemies, like you can do a homing launch on an enemy, or on a large enemy, but you can't really do a homing wrecker on a large enemy because you won't have the strength to launch them in the air unless, you have a high combo counter, or the enemy is knocked prone, or some other third stipulation that could change the situation. But there are still other enemy ideas that we have that will play and flow into this at the end of the day that we're not showing off yet because we don't have anything to show. But that's still a variable and a factor that we need to take into account with all of this. So that's just why we're bringing it to your attention, because we want to try this out, but we're not sure if it's the direction we need to go, and we want to know what you guys think, essentially, which is why we're bringing it up here.
It's all relatively new territory. Like, there has been combat and Sonic games before, either as spin-offs or in mainline games, but normally they haven't been pulled off in ways that people would like. Either it's unnecessary, or there's many situations, like in Sonic Heroes, combat is a drag for the most part, because you just have to hit the enemy multiple times, and there's no actual nuance to it. While, say, in Sonic 06, combat, I'm going to go off a limb here, Sonic 06 actually doesn't have the worst combat. I think its combat's actually, strictly speaking in terms of combat, is better than Heroes, but it's fairly limited. For the most part, all you do is homing attack, then bounce. That will kill almost anything.
The problem with 06's combat is that the enemies don't do anything about it. Like,
that too.
All the characters have pretty cool moves, but you don't have the enemies to use the moves on. You basically just use the exact same moves on the exact same enemies, and they react the exact same way. That's the problem with 06, is it doesn't have the enemies to diversify how you approach combat. And
yeah,
we want
and
to
of course it's Sonic 06.
Yeah.
Sonic at least kind of counts, but that's the Werehog, so it doesn't. But other than that, Sonic's combat is pretty much mostly boiled down to hitting the enemy, and that's pretty much it. Which isn't a bad plan when you think about it, because Sonic is mostly a platformer. So as long as you hit the enemy, you know, you can make the skill check being getting to the enemy. But we figured we could probably do a bit more with it, you know.
Isn't Heroes the one with the best combat without taking in mind how tanky enemies are? That's how a lot of people see it. What we were talking about earlier was just Emmanuel's opinion on the subject matter. I don't...
Oh yeah, that is my opinion. I just said that at first.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree, but I don't disagree with it either. I think 06's combat is kind of slept on, but I don't think it's, you know, peak Sonic combat either.
No. What is peak? What did you think? Which game do you think has the best Sonic combat? That's a mainline Sonic game.
Has the best? Probably Heroes, but at the same time, there are really not a whole lot of Sonic games that have good combat.
Yeah. It's pretty much just those two when you think about it. Except for maybe like on Sonic and Secret Rings, maybe.
And of course you can do this. This is always fun.
Yes, that's a side effect of the perch right now. The enemies still detect you when you perch on them. Some enemies don't have a way of dealing with you. Well, none of the enemies have a way of actively dealing with you, but they will try to attack you if they're able to like properly react. And gun beetles will try to turn towards you and shoot at you, which leads to this interaction here.
Yep. They simply just cannot turn into the direction that you are sitting.
Yes, which is quite hilarious. And if we keep the perch, we're probably going to make this a... I especially like this interaction because he will... I just like the way this guy turns, but...
Oh, that is a different thing. That is a different thing. Like, we have, we've added more options with how enemies can detect you.
Oh yeah, that is something I added. We can show that in editor if you want.
I don't know what each of these enemies are.
Oh, just click on them, and type in detection and details.
Okay.
All right, so right now there's two working ways in which you can detect Sonic using enemy. Either you could do a pure radius check, or you could use the pawn sensing module that's attached, that Unreal comes packaged with. If you use a radius check, it would simply just detect Sonic within a radius around it, which is what the gun beetles originally used, and can be modified using the radius float at the bottom. If you use pawn sensing, which what the egg pawns used originally, instead of using a pure radius check, the pawns will actually have hearing and seeing enabled, which you can see by that green vision cone. That's their seeing cone, or their vision cone. And you can also have a smaller radius check that essentially is listening out for Sonic. So if you get close enough, they'll still get they'll
still hear
you'll still get they'll still hear you. And Sonic's constantly making a sound, so you can't exactly sneak by them. At least not currently. We may get Metal Gear Sonic working at some point, but right now Sonic is constantly just making, I guess he's humming constantly. He's constantly singing or something. And if you get close enough, which you can configure, they will hear you. You can also turn hearing off.
Yeah. We got laser. I'm not sure what laser is supposed to be. Like,
so these are just concepts I came up with. Laser is just an idea I came up with where an enemy will have a red dot sight that pans left and right, and if you get detected by it, you know, you get detected. Maybe it's a sniper.
Oh, so it's a searchlight essentially.
Yeah, it's a searchlight.
Okay.
Or maybe just a laser dot. Who knows? Radio is just the enemy can only be activated by another trigger, either from an enemy or a world event, telling it, "Hey, Sonic's over here." In that case, the enemy will react.
So it's an alert system. Like if
yes.
If something else, like if we had an actor that if you overlapped with it, it would send a dispatch event to any enemy that uses the radio, essentially, the radio.
Yes.
Which is
and of course we can have a faction system so that only certain, or a group system, so only certain enemies are alerted by this. Or we can make radio a separate system altogether where it's not, enemies can have a normal detection type like radius checks or sensing, but it can also be radioed in. So we could mix and match it. Mm-hmm. And global is just the enemy will always know where you are at all times. That could be useful for some situations, but that's pretty self-explanatory.
But like if you have it on global, the enemy might know where you're at all times, but it may not do anything until you reach a certain like distance from it or a radius, you know. Yes,
that's something else me and the team were discussing, which is the possibility of having so that enemies have different engagement ranges, which is Well, they technically already do, but we can have like 3 different ranges at which the enemy will respond. You have detection range where the enemy will detect you, but it doesn't necessarily mean they'll attack you. They may reposition or do something, but that's the detection range. Then you have range attack range where they'll shoot at you or whatever they do, shoot bow and arrows,
Like
throw a
for
rock at you.
egg pawns, this square right here is their attack
That's their
range.
melee range.
If you enter into this square, they'll try and melee you.
Yes, and then you got
Should-
melee range, which is a shorter distance, because some enemies may have a melee weapon and a ranged weapon. Who knows?
Which, by the way, we should totally buff that because you have to be like way close to them for them to attack.
Yes, I was thinking about just making it so that if they detect you, you just have the melee check will simply just be a what should I call it? Just a distance check to see how far away you are. In that case, we have to add in some AI so they'll try to turn towards you properly and all that. But yeah.
But yeah, there's just some expansion done to the enemies. Tiger Sonic said just say that's just funny and leave it into some capacity, talking about the writing on the enemy. We're going to not remove it, but we are going to have it disabled by default. Like enemies won't do that by default, but we're not gonna like completely remove it because it is fucking hilarious to watch Sonic ride it like a fucking cowboy.
Definitely. And in the future, we may expand upon it. Maybe make it so that some enemies do react properly. Maybe some enemies will try to brush you off, and if you don't jump off, you'll get knocked off or take damage. So maybe of course, if you jump on the spiked egg flapper and it pursues a spike, you should get hurt.
Yeah,
because that's your own fault. But you can have maybe the egg beetles, maybe not the egg beetles, the gun beetles. Maybe they do wig out and shoot everything around them. Who knows? We could expand upon it, make it fun.
Yeah, as long as it's fun, that's the main important part. But I don't really think there's that much else to show off in combat. We did talk about that for quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
30 minutes, actually. To move on, let's go to... Should we go to Silver first or the Wisps? Which would you guys prefer to hear first?
Let's do Silver next.
I was going to say Silver.
All right, let's move on to
You're in
Silver.
agreement.
Class defaults.
And to clarify, for Silver, we're right now what our plans for Sage at least is to get Silver in a semi-playable state that emulates a lot of aspects of how you played in Sonic 06. More so as I won't say proof of concept, but just more so just to show him off. But it won't be representative of how he will play once we finally push our main update for combat.
There it is. I was looking for the...
Why not play Silver's theme?
Oh, we have that?
Yeah.
We do. Okay. So we got Silver's theme here. Things
A
that
variation of it.
Yeah, things that we've shown off before. Obviously, Silver can fly. That's obvious. Silver can... We don't have any objects here. Shit.
Oh, there is one near that egg pond all the way in the back.
Oh, there is? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I placed one box there.
We've got objects here. Silver can pick up and then poop, throw it. And one thing that's new that was added here recently is Silver can now...
Make enemies into boxes.
Yeah, we can turn enemies into boxes now. Pop.
That's what's meant to happen.
Yeah, that's what's meant to happen is... Pop. There we go. And there goes the box. So now Silver can damage enemies.
Yeah, it's in a very basic state. Right now, pretty much, I just gave the crates a hitbox, so when you hit an enemy, they'll take damage.
Yeah.
It doesn't, for instance, the hitbox doesn't go away once you hit the enemy, which we may add in, but that's how it works.
And, boop. There we go.
Destroyed.
And Silver's flight, I know we mentioned this before, but Silver's flight is independent from his hover or his grasp ability. So I can grab things and fly around independently and not use up my grab energy. It's completely different different energy bar.
Yep, which we will get a graphic for at some point.
Yeah, we got to get a graphic for it yet. So to move on to this room that we've been ignoring, just to show off a little bit again with Silver, how Silver can move objects around with his brain power, because he's the big think power.
Mm-hmm. He's Mega Mind.
He is Mega Mind. But he can also do this here.
An ability from your favorite game of all time.
Yep, Sonic 06. Everybody loves that game. And I'm probably going to move these boxes around because some of these have problems.
I'll get there.
Yeah, these have problems. So I'm probably going to move these boxes around because it doesn't always want to work.
Yeah, it's because they still have gravity and collision.
Yeah.
I like how you popped it. Like, come on now.
It's trying its hardest.
Yeah, we probably should have moved these boxes beforehand. But as you can see, it will go through the ground. They will try to get where they need to go.
Yeah, we may have to disable collision for them while they're transitioning.
Yep. And this isn't an ability that's handled by Silver, I don't believe. If I remember
Not
correctly.
directly. He can activate it, but then the psycho pad, as we call it, takes care of the rest.
So we have these objects in here now called psychopads. They are an object that only Silver can interact with. It's currently only checking for Silver. Obviously, if you wanted it to check for any other character, you could simply change it. But how it works is pretty neat. Whenever you toss in a psychopad somewhere, like so, what you'll end up doing is you will have a list over here, an array of actors, an array of locations. And you can move the location around in 3D space as a transform.
Yes, this was harder to set than it should have been, but we got that working.
It was a bit difficult. Side note, do not rotate this. Do not rotate it at all. It does not like that. If you need to rotate the boxes, place them where you want to go here, and then rotate this here. Do not rotate the pad. It does not like it if you rotate the psychopad. But the idea here is that you can assign an actor, like so, to a position. You can give it a specific interrupt speed, like 1000. And the coordinating actor will go to the correlative location in the array list. So array object 0 will go into location array 0. If I added another spot here and added another location array here, actor number 2 will go into array location number 2 at its own separate speed. So I could set this one to be like 500. So this number here controls the speed, the interrupt speed in which it takes, the speed at which the object will move from point A to its final location, point B. So if I walk over here with Silver,
Or fly over.
or fly over, and I overlap and interact with this object here, you can see that object took a lot longer to get over to its spot.
And also it's a lot weaker. Since we currently have gravity enabled for them still,
Yeah.
Gravity will still try to pull them down.
Yeah, we're probably going to have this potentially change dynamically, or we might just enable gravity entirely. It is kind of fun seeing the objects interact with the world as, like, you know, they fly around. But if you wanted it to move faster, all you got to do is just change this number to a higher number, like so, and the object will move faster. Like so. It's pretty easy. Boop. See, and see, it moved over there much quicker. One neat little thing that we have done just to make sure, if you have an uneven amount of actors and locations in the set arrays here, like if I have 2 actors attached to this but only 1 location, it will come out as a failure. It will refuse to allow Silver to use the ability.
He failed.
It fails. It'll also print out a little thing that says, like, hey, mismatched variables. You have 1 location but only 2 actors. Or vice versa. If I had too many locations and not enough actors, it would print out the X amount of locations I have and the X amount of actors that I have. So it's a little fail-safe to prevent you from accidentally, you know, unintentionally incorrectly setting it up. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and do this here. Let's remove this and remove that. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this object. And then I'm going to go ahead. I wanted to remove everything so that way the duplicates didn't work. I'm going to give these actors, or these two things, the exact same actor. So let's add an array, and let's assign it the exact same crate. And then we'll give each one a different location in its array. So let's set this one over here. And then let's set this one over here. Set it to like 1000. I'll set this one to 1000. A neat little thing that we've done to also, you could use this in like a puzzle setting if you want, but at the end of the day, it's mainly as a safeguard. We've done this to prevent extra errors from happening. But if you wanted to use this in a puzzle setting, you could also do that too. If I hit this object, the crate is going to move into that spot. But if I hit this object, the crate's not going to move because that crate's already in use. It's going to recognize that the crate's already in use. It can't use it anymore, and it's going to cancel out. It's going to say, hey, this crate's already being used. I can't use it anymore. Stop doing anything. But if on the inverse, if I did this one first, the crate's going to move over here into place. And then if I try to use this one, it's not going to work because it says, hey, the actor I have assigned to me is already being used somewhere else. I can't use it anymore. So if you wanted to use that in a puzzle type setting, you could. But for the most part, it's mainly there to prevent you from causing any potential issues. And one last thing that we did that we should probably mention, if you have objects grabbed here, and you use use a psychopad that has to pull an object out of your inventory, it'll automatically clean that object out of the inventory, and it will remove it from your list, essentially.
Yep. It does the big yoink.
Yeah. It essentially removes it from your grab list and says, hey, I need this object, but you're using it, so I'm going to remove it out of your inventory of grabbed objects and use it. So those are essentially all the changes we've done to Silver. We've given Silver, obviously, a separate energy bar for flight. We've allowed objects that Silver can throw to actually deal damage to targets. And we've allowed Silver to interact with these objects here, and we've done a lot of work to prevent any errors and mismatching of objects and any potential problems you could come across while creating your level, essentially. So a lot of it's been editor work, mainly. Those are the main things that we've done with Silver. So Silver is coming together nicely. He's definitely going to be there during Sage, but like Emmanuel said earlier, he's going to be the basic Silver that we know from 06, pretty much. I don't know if we're going to have interaction with enemies, like him being able to grab enemies and such. I don't know if we're going to have that set up before Sage. But we are at the very least going to have a majority of what he had in 06 set up here. It's not what he's going to be in the final release. We definitely have a lot more plans to do and expand Silver's moveset, but for the most part, this is what Silver is going to be at the end of, or by the time Sage rolls around. Maybe a little bit more, depending on how things go. I know, I talked a whole lot.
I mean, not that much.
I mean, I think I went over Silver faster than I went over what we had with the combat, but we had less to talk about with Silver, so. Yep. And most of it was all editor stuff. Or at least half of it was. I think we can go ahead and... Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, yeah, it wasn't as much, but still important to go over. And, you know, it's going to turn into a lot more later.
Yeah.
But now let's go over some more colorful things.
Yep. Let's go over our ghost babies.
Ghost babies.
It is time for the ghost babies. One thing that we've already mentioned on the Twitter is the fact that all of the Wisps have begun visual and graphical upgrades. Oh. You should not be able to
They're
move.
no longer giant M&Ms.
I forgot to turn that off. for Cyan Laser.
Yeah, you can still move around a silent laser, which we have to remove.
It's an easy fix. What was he saying, Reese?
I was just saying they're no longer giant M&Ms.
No, they're no longer giant M&Ms.
Crying shame. Also, this is the biggest fix I've done so far. I spelled Little Boulder right in the name list, the song list.
So we've got Laser and Rocket there. We've got Hover. It's got its model. Most of all these models come from the official source. Boing. And by most of all, I mean all. We also got Cube here. We'll come back to Cube.
Yeah, Reese's favorite one.
We got Cube done pretty much immediately.
No, didn't you like work on it for like a week? Like
No, I meant the
2 weeks ago?
visuals. We got the visual done pretty much immediately. Like as soon as we were done working on Cube, we got the visuals done for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Also got Burst.
Burst
Burst
looks
looks
pretty
cool
cool.
as shit. Like I love how Burst looks.
Yeah, we have to add in a damage component so you can deal damage to enemies, but a lot of its functionality is already in now.
Yep. Didn't want that. We've also got Frenzy. Frenzy still needs animated, but it's starting to come together in terms of visuals.
Yep.
Sometimes you can't jump for some reason. I'm not sure why. What was another one? We already got Rocket.
We could show off Void.
We can show off. Let's go ahead and do Spike. We got the model for Spike. But we've not done anything with Spike yet, so we don't really have much to show with it. Let's hear. And yeah, we got Void. Void looks.
He
He's
has
been-
not been eating.
He's been hitting the gym.
Hitting the gym a bit too much.
Yeah. Void's been hitting the gym. He's looking a little.
He is looking
flat.
wavy though.
We're running into a problem with the Void because Void doesn't have a 3D model. He only has 2D textures, and that's all we've got to work with Void. So
Ideas.
yeah.
Just need to do them.
What does Yakker do? The White Wisps will just refill your boost. That's pretty much it. They'll give you half of your current, or not half of your current, half of your maximum boost energy. I don't know if we showed this off on DevStream. It might have been too long ago. But Frenzy can eat things and grow.
And if you can't really see it, but Frenzy does push you left and right while you're trying to control him.
Yeah.
Not
I'm
too much.
touching
The opponents don't
controls
control
anymore. I'm not touching the controls, and he kind of just wiggles around on his own.
it. Yeah, I kind of talked over it. You may want to show it off again.
That's fine. So I'm gonna transform into Void, or not Void, Frenzy, and then I'm not gonna touch any buttons. As you can see, Frenzy kind of like wiggles back and forth a little bit as it constantly like tries to pull you around, and it constantly propels you forward, much like how Frenzy did in Sonic Colors. He's much easier to control than he was in Sonic Colors, but it's still a little chaotic. Frenzy, similarly to Void, can eat things and grow, but it does so a lot quicker and a lot more smoothly. So you can see Frenzy or Void. God damn it! I keep getting the two mixed up. They're essentially the same with slightly different properties.
Yeah, I think Void is currently more powerful in many ways.
Yeah, but we're gonna adjust that obviously. We've already shown off Green Hover and how it can do that.
Oh, Lightspeed dashing with it.
Yeah, we've already shown that off before.
Oh.
Blue Cube now functions! It actually works now. It's not...
You've learned how to cast.
You're having the big problems.
We were having big problems with it. You can also collect these things here and do that. Go ahead.
gonna say you can't. I was just gonna say you can't collect the rings. We may have to add in so they actually add you ring count, but
I'm not sure how to solve this puzzle. You set up a weird puzzle. I'm not even taking the time to try and solve it.
Just press 1.
Just press 1. Cube will only interact with objects within a certain radius of itself. It is possible to interact with an object outside of its, or certain objects and not others. I don't remember what the radius is. Or is it a global? Did we change it to a global?
I remember it being a radius check.
Might have been. We might have changed it to global.
Mm.
Oh, I do remember expanding the global. Yeah, it is a global check. But it's been expanded upon quite insanely. So the likelihood of you not interacting with something's much lower now. What else is there to show off with Spike? Oh, there is one major thing to show off with the Wisps. So we've got Cyan Laser functioning almost entirely as intended, Orange Rocket almost entirely as intended, Blue Cube, Frenzy and Void still got some adjustments to make, but they're working pretty close to how we want them to.
Same with Green Hover.
Same thing with Green Hover. We got a little bit of adjustments with Green Hover and Red Burst, but they're almost working entirely as we want them to. So all that's left is Pink Spike and Yellow Drill. And once we get these two done, then the Wisps are going to be looking pretty damn good. All that will be left is adjusting their functionality for 2D, as well as adjusting their visual effects and their sound and such, which we've already gotten pretty far into. We've already got a good deal of that stuff done. But
Yeah.
Of these two, Yellow Drill is already looking pretty good. Yellow Drill will be able to climb across the walls in 3D.
Yes, this was really easy to put together too. This
Yep.
was one of the easiest Wisps we ever coded.
It is. We got this done in like 30 seconds. That's how easy it was.
Yeah, Unreal is just really good about like sticking to walls and not in rotations and vectors and stuff like that. Like it was just a cinch.
I was with them throughout the entire thing. Yes, it was brilliant. I wasn't sleeping.
I'm ordering some food here. My blood sugar is dropping. I need food. So, in case you can't pick up on sarcasm, we have slowly grown to hate Yellow Drill, which we already knew we were going to. Yellow Drill was a little bitch. I want fries. Give me fries.
So, this is just game developer advice in general. Maybe Tiger could use this, or just anyone listening. When it comes to controls in Unreal and just moving around, it just becomes way more complicated when it comes to sticking to walls in general. Like sticking to a wall and not being just like thrown off of it, or sticking to the wall period, is a bitch and a half. Especially when it comes to like doing it as like Sonic characters or their derivatives. In this case, a Wisp, because there's so many things that you keep track of. You're not flying and shit. You're sticking to a wall, which can change. There's many situations that can cause you to fall off of it for whatever reason. And another thing, if you never heard of gimbal lock before, gimbal lock is just a term that means when you can't rotate the way you want to in a 3D plane for whatever reason. It's just a quirk of how rotations are calculated in Unreal and possibly other engines. That is a big deal when it comes to these kind of situations, because sometimes Yellow Drill will try to rotate towards the wall he's on and actually just rotate away from it and fall off.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to explain, but just general takeaway and then I'll be done. Wall sticking to stuff in general in Unreal is hard. Be prepared for that.
Yeah. It's difficult. Essentially, gimbal lock means rotation in Unreal doesn't work like it's on a ball bearing. If you rotate something on a ball bearing, it essentially has no limit. You can just continuously rotate it. A gimbal has a limit, in which case you rotate to a certain point, or if you want to rotate to a certain point, instead of taking the fastest route, it has to work in a specific direction, essentially. So if you want to rotate from point A to point B, and the fastest route is like, 30 degrees, but that works against the gimbal, Unreal will try to rotate you the other 350 degrees instead. You know, it's a bitch. It's annoying. And we got it to the point yesterday where you essentially couldn't do this because the gimbal lock was trying to constantly lock you. We essentially had to soft reset the gimbal lock constantly.
Yeah.
Essentially, is how it works. Is we're soft resetting the gimbal lock. That way, you're able to actually rotate in 360 degrees.
But then we ran into issues with sticking to the wall, and then it turned out that our character snapping was a bit off.
Yep. One thing that's note, if anyone has followed Infinity Plus for a long time, one thing to note is Yellow Drill works on speed shift logic. It's essentially a speed shift. I'm holding right this entire time. And we do that because, one, Drill is constantly being propelled forward, and two, you're working with walls, which means you're working with weird angles. So we feel like speed shift is probably the best way to do that without confusing the player too much. Because it can become a bitch real quickly.
And one thing to note is that one design choice we made was that we didn't have Yellow Drill have the camera follow behind you the entire time, unlike with other characters. And that's because when it comes to like changing direction, you see how rapidly Yellow Drill can like change directions or the angle it's going at, because it can just stick to a wall and keep going, which is really disorienting if your camera's following you. So we decided to not have that happen, but still keep the speed shift controls, just so that, well, for one, as I mentioned earlier, it's easier to code that in, because you just turn left, you go left, you turn right, you go right. That's easy to code for versus keeping in mind where the player is in relation to the camera and their angle and all that, which can be done, but we don't think it's necessary for Yellow Drill since you're going forward. It's like tank controls.
Also, another thing to keep in mind, this is entirely in 3D. In 2D, Drill is going to function a lot more closely than what it does in Sonic Colors. There's not going to be any speed shift. Essentially, whatever direction you push is the direction the Drill's going to go. This is entirely for 3D, because we had to essentially translate Drill into 3D, and the way that we thought about it was, well, Drill can function similarly to how it did in Sonic Colors, which is akin to the Spike, but constantly on the move and much more difficult to control. So theoretically, with Drill, you should be able to cover a lot more distance than you can with Spike whenever climbing on walls and such, but you have to be a lot more precise, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to do, because it essentially wants to, constantly propel you forward, because you're drilling into the ground. You can't be sitting around if you're drilled into the ground.
Definitely. So. And we're also going to have functionality for, like, as you know, in Sonic Colors, you could drill into the ground. We're not going to let you drill into just the ground at whim in just any surface, because that would be chaos, and chaos is bad.
Yeah.
But we are going to add specific materials and actors you can drill into. In that case, it'll play like Sonic Colors. You can move left and right and bounce off walls and stuff like that, and progressively go forward, and try not to de-transform while you're in the ground, or else you may die. Who knows?
Yeah. So this is entirely just how Drill will function in 3D. Another thing that of note, we're probably going to end up changing the button layout here, but obviously you transform, you press jump to jump, and you press shift to boost, like to move faster. Currently you have to be boosting into a wall to cling to the wall, but we're probably going to change that. If you don't boost into a wall, you're just going to bounce off of it, like you would in, Sonic Colors. You collide with the wall that Drill doesn't like, so it's going to bounce off of it. Boing, 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 boing. So, what we're probably going to do is we're probably going to map it to a different button.
I just realized I was muted.
What?
I just realized I was muted.
Oh, this entire time?
Yes.
I guess since we started, we're talking about the Drill.
Yep.
Oof.
Did you have any thoughts or anything?
No, not really. Okay. I was just saying something, I was saying something that I realized, I don't even know. Just ignore me.
So,
we can never ignore you.
Pink Spike, I don't think we're going to have Pink Spike function on Speed Shift. Maybe we will. We're going to play test Pink Spike a bit. But one thing that will definitely happen is Pink Spike will we're probably going to just translate a lot of the systems over from Drill to Pink Spike. Pink Spike will probably be a lot easier to develop for. But currently we have nothing for Pink Spike.
Just got a mesh.
Yeah, we've got nothing.
Yes.
We've got a mesh, that's it. But Yellow Drill's looking really, really good right now. He's not done, but it is pretty close to being how we want it to be.
Yeah, we just have to, in terms of coding for it, like, we're not talking about policy animation, but just for coding for Yellow Drill, all that's left is mostly just interacting with drillable surfaces and drilling into them. 2D sections, which has to be done for every wisp, so that doesn't really count. And underwater sections, which should be easy, because when you're underwater as Drill, you just fly, so that's simple.
Yeah. So, we've not coded at all. Like, we've not coded any interactions at all for underwater. I don't know if we're going to get all that done or not before Sage, so we might just say, hey, if you're underwater, you can't activate a wisp, but most of the wisps, it won't matter. Like, you know, Cube, Laser, Rockets, Frenzy, Void, and Hover. For the most part, it won't matter, but
For Red Burst, you may just deactivate when you touch water, which makes sense.
for Red Burst, we could have it so you just deactivate. A large majority of underwater interaction is just going to be like minor physics changes. And that's mainly going to be for like Frenzy, Void, and Hover. And maybe Spike. Blue Cube, Orange Rocket, and Cyan Laser don't really need any physics changes if you're underwater. Just due to the nature of how the abilities work. Maybe for Blue Cube you fall slightly slower. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. But Frenzy, Void, Hover, and Spike and Drill are all going to have slightly adjusted, if not entirely unique interactions for being underwater. But I don't know if we're going to get that done before Sage, because honestly, we've got other things we should probably work on.
Yeah, like combat. Not Silver. I think Silver's almost mostly done.
Silver is getting to be pretty close. There are bugs and issues that we got to sort out with Silver.
Yeah, and maybe try to make it so you can grab enemies, but that's like low on the priority list. Like right now, the high priority things are finishing Pink Spike and Yellow Drill, and getting the combo to a state where it can stand alone and actually be like kind of fun to play with, outside of just us messing around with it. Because right now it's fun for us to mess around with, but we made it. Like
Rodeo mode.
Yeah, Wario mode.
No, rodeo mode.
Oh, rodeo mode. I thought you said Wario mode. I'm a cowboy.
He just turned to Wario.
I wanna be a cowboy.
So
But yeah, it's actually been fun. Like I know, like me and Fizz went crazy working on Yellow Drill, but it was kind of funny once we finally figured it out.
Yeah,
And then they proceeded to draw phallic images.
we did. We drew penises on the wall.
Yes, because at the time we had Yellow Drill leave behind a debug line essentially behind you, or just a trail of arrows, and we just drew dicks on the wall.
Yep.
Sorry, Twitch. I know you didn't like me saying that word, but that's what we did.
It was Manuel's idea.
It was definitely my idea. It was also 3 a.m. for me, so I was just tired and I was done.
Yeah, it was. We were up late getting Drill trying to function. And by up late, I mean last night. Not like, oh, sometime last week. It was last night we were trying to get Drill to work.
Yeah, because Fizz was like, "Listen, we need to." Fizz was saying, "Hey, at some point you need to work on Yellow Drill because if you don't know, at some point I made code very similar for this for another character that is a different color, for just the testing I was doing, and a lot of the code actually translates to Yellow Drill in many ways. So it was pretty much my task to get started on that, but when I got started, there was a lot of bugs, and me and Fizz kind of workshopped the rest of it last night.
Mhm.
And we're like, oh my god, why is it working like this? Why is Unreal stupid? Then we fix it.
It was a process, but So again, other than Pink Spike, the Wisps, in terms of what we're gonna have ready for Sage, the Wisps are in a very, very good spot. There are obviously lots of bugs and other issues we're gonna have to work out with. I'm gonna try. I need a little bit of help from Emmanuel getting things set up for 2D, but other than that, I should be able to get the Wisps functioning in 2D on my own for the most part.
You should be able to do
initial
Pink Spike
setup.
on your own now, right?
Yeah, totally, sure. I'm talking about 2D here. 2D sections. We gotta get that set up for 2D sections. That's my primary focus.
Yeah,
'Cause-
and maybe also hitboxes for the which I'm not sure how
We
we're gonna
even
do
have
that.
them interact with the enemies.
yeah, none of them interact with enemies at all.
Yeah,
But,
that should be easy. At the very least, just make it so that they just hurt enemies when they hit them, just as a failsafe.
yeah, pretty much. That'll pretty much be what it is. Sounds like at some point you guys started feeling like your head was being drilled. I feel like my head's being drilled right now, but that's just because my blood sugar's low and I need food.
He needs to intake calories.
I do. I need some blood sugar. Is what I need.
He's Dracula, if you don't know.
I meant to say sugar, but my brain not work.
But yeah, that's what we've worked on so far. We've done some other minor things, I think, that I can't think of right now.
I can't.
Mostly just clean up.
On the top of my head.
Reese, is there anything you want to say about what's been going on?
Wisps are looking fly.
They are looking to fly. Not Void, but Void's going to be a process.
Void has just gone to the gym, as you said.
He's gone to the gym. He's slimmed up. I'm sure Void is proud of himself.
I mean, he may have gone a bit too slim, but we've got to be proud of him.
Mm-hmm. No, don't say it.
We can't say that he's gone a bit too far.
Amazed by the amount of work. We're glad you are, Tiger. We've done a lot of work in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, it kind of flew by, honestly.
Last week was slow as hell for me, but that's just because like a lot of new stuff happened. But
oh, Reese. By the way, to give credit, Reese was the one who found and implemented all of the Wisp models. I think.
Yeah, Reese is the one that took care of all the Wisp models so far.
I'm the model and sound guy.
Yes, he is heavy weapons expert.
I am heavy weapons guy.
And Silver is janitor.
All right, so
Silver is the janitor.
He also was the one. If you notice, we had the Gunhawk, as we mentioned earlier in the combat room. The I don't know how to describe it. Just the bigger gun enemy. He's the one who added that in, or gave us the model for it, and also he's the one who.
I found it on the model resources, so I can't take credit for that model. It belongs to somebody else, but they put it up on the model resources for free.
I believe Cyber gave us all the assets for Silver, mainly the animation assets.
Yeah.
So
I got the Silver model.
All of those come from 06. They were retargeted to the Forces model, and then we slapped them onto this model, which is also the Forces model. We
did the animations and models for the Gun Hunter, the gun mech, but we just haven't implemented it in yet. We haven't given it a blueprint properly.
Real quick, we're gonna open up, questions and discussions and stuff. If you guys have any questions, ideas, concerns, or whatever, you're more than welcome to ask them. In the process of answering them, I'm actually gonna pull up Discord, and we're gonna take a slight stroll through memory lane and look at some of the old stuff that from Infinity Plus updates from long ago. We're gonna take a look at some of that stuff just to see where we've come from. But before then, I'm going to mute myself because I've had to use the restroom for the past, 30 minutes, so...
Yeah.
I will be right back. You guys can talk to Reese and Emmanuel. Give me, 5 minutes.
So, hey, guys.
going to be something to show off to say, hey, we're alive.
I'm back.
God, is that the ghost of Fizz? We must carry on the show without him. So, Sonic is the big bad, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Who even likes Sonic?
Oh, Tiger asked, are you guys planning on working on another level like Seagate?
Can't tell
I'll
you.
give that to Fizz.
Can't tell you.
God damn
Can't
it!
tell
God
you, but what I'm
damn it!
gonna say is we're touching up the Seagate in the last demo just to include some extra things for like silver and a little bit extra optimization because I figured out better ways of doing certain things.
Yeah, that's going to be another thing. The Sage demo is going to include, obviously, the previous Seagate level, the new one that we just created. Yesterday I went back. Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't remember.
Yes.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, I went back and I adjusted it, and now Silver can play through it. I tossed some psychopads around the area and some crates so Silver can fight enemies and actually traverse the level properly. So there's that. That way you can actually play Silver in a real level, you know, and not just in the debug level. It wasn't made for Silver, but we've adapted it to Silver. But to answer your question, Tiger, we cannot say. I'm not gonna say anything about any new levels.
But Fizz, what about Grand Metropolis Zone?
Grand Metropolis Zone. Do do dee do dee do do.
So let's see. When I'm not. We have until like the 28th, I believe, before we have to submit a demo for Stage, right?
I've already submitted a page.
Well, you know what I mean. Like we have to. That's our final date to like submit a file.
Yeah.
So that's. Today's the 3rd, so we have around 25 days at most to get everything done for Sage, and after that, whatever's in Sage is in Sage. We may. Oh God, Tiger! I just read what you said.
Make a weird hog level with the battle song only.
All right. I'm on it, guys. I got it. I'll knock it out. I'll knock it out in like 2 minutes.
We'll just add a really terribly retargeted warehouse. And all it does is just locks you in a room in a cage with an enemy nearby so you can't attack it. And it just plays the music so you're stuck there.
Yep. So, until some more questions or ideas and stuff pop up, just to spend a little time and pad out just the length of the stream. Let's look at some of the old stuff. I looked through some of this stuff the other day, and I'm just like, yeah, it'd be fun to go back through here. So, let's see here. I created the Infinity Plus Updates channel over a year ago. It was April? Yeah, April 13th.
Oh, that's a while
2019. Ago. 2019. That was last year.
Yeah,
that's whenever I created this channel. So we've been working on the project for longer than a year then.
Oh yeah.
This here was the first screenshot we sent. It was the first Whisper model that we obtained and imported into Infinity Plus.
Oh yeah, with all those spheres too.
Imported.
Say what?
God. Yeah, you're on about my old Whisper. Oh God, it is the old Whisper model.
Yeah, I turned off the screen share so we didn't have this window up here.
Yeah, and that's like freaking. What you calling it? That was the default size of that mesh when you brought it in.
Yep.
Absolute units.
That is the old Blitz level before we've revamped it like 20 times. That was your level. Yeah, that's right. That was your level.
That environment was from my personal build of Infinity Engine before we combined all of our versions into Infinity Plus.
Yeah.
So that was my mad mind. A bunch of fucking what you call them in the backgrounds, bumpers.
Yeah. Default size, of course. Yeah. People don't know this, but this is Whisper's canonical height compared to everyone else.
Makes sense.
She's absolute unit.
So here's a the first footage of the dynamic camera.
That was also my contribution at first.
Yeah. That was really cool. Still used today. We still use it.
Very different than that.
It is a bit different now. This here was very, very early footage of the bounce before we combined versions of the project. Very, very early.
I remember that.
Yeah. Here's a clip of the pivot. Oh man, the bounce. Do you remember the pivot, guys?
Yeah, I remember. We still have it, but this version of the pivot, I remember that.
Yeah.
I have even older footage of when I tried to work on it. Sonic would just turn on a dime. It was so weird.
Cool.
This here.
Pivot.
Last year was the first Infinity Plus rebranded video. That's the video we posted whenever we officially rebranded the project as Infinity Plus. That was 3 months ago last year.
3 months ago last year.
And then this clip introduced the hint rings.
And thus, Fizz Snark has been let loose on humanity.
Yes, I coded those. And then you guys and Fizz went wild with the
bounce.
Fizz just pissed off everyone afterwards.
I did. Exponential snark. My snark has only gotten worse since then. So, minor changes to the bounce have been done since then, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same as how we've left it. Oh. It's this here. Do you remember this?
Let's see.
This is when you colored the egg pawns.
It's when we first showed off the egg pawns.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
This is when the egg pawns were first added into Infinity Plus.
I forgot about what I did in the background there. I just got a freaking egg fleet mesh and just jammed it into the ground.
Oh yeah, they broke it to pieces.
Yeah.
Although
that's still in, it's just not enabled. Like, we haven't coded it in.
Yeah, mostly it's probably because they broke into the wrong pieces.
No, it isn't. It's just because we've changed how, at least I changed how the damage works for them. But it's also there's like a bunch of things get spawned in, so I didn't think it was very
It's less efficient. We didn't have a despawner.
Yeah, I think they despawned after so long, but it was a ridiculously long time. So we can easily go and add
This
it back
year,
in more dynamic.
Yeah, we could probably do that. This here was when the dynamic camera got the ability to lock on behind Sonic.
You go around the loop.
I remember that. This was what inspired us to do the follow camera.
Yeah.
Because back then you couldn't even move the camera around. You just had to go left and right.
I remember that. I remember working on that. That was kind of annoying. And then probably one of the more controversial additions that I still stand my ground on, the Forces boost.
Douche.
Bitch.
How dare you? I do personally like I don't like Forces, but I do think the Forces boost in this game is actually kind of cool. Because it just gives you a little hop forward.
Yeah.
Bonk.
Bonk. And that was our first dev stream. That was before we did dev streams frequently.
Hey.
Where did this come from?
Oh. The amazing artwork?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
it's
was when we were designing the shield particle effects. I was like, oh, it'll be like dried ice.
Is snack
dried ice?
Before I had a tablet. Like I do now.
I like it. It's still a good time. Snack. This here was the elemental shields. Early versions of the elemental shields. Oh, I forgot that the air shield gave you an insanely high double jump.
Oh yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
It still modifies your gravity, but it's not as much.
Yeah.
It has been nerfed. And the air shield was the shields were my contribution at first, because they were in my personal build as well.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Because I also designed the air and ice.
I remember I did a lot of work with getting these to actually function. And then we ended up changing how they functioned anyway and reworking it. What was this one?
Yeah.
Oh, this was death. This is death.
Oh.
Sonic
This one-
die.
Oh yeah, for the longest time, you just couldn't die in Infinity Plus.
Yep.
At least not properly. Oh, and this is when the speed shift was turned on by like increasing the speed too. I just remembered.
Just walking through it. This is really cool looking through it at all with you. With your reactions. Yeah. Every once in a while we like to go back and look at old stuff that we put on. But
I don't. It embarrasses me.
it embarrasses you. Me and Reese like doing it.
Oh yeah. It's great.
Checkpoints will show you how fast you're moving when you pass through them. We do not promise not to send your speed records to the police for review. I was trying to figure out how to grammatically make that joke make sense, and I still don't think I succeeded. But
That works.
I think a bit later down, that's when you added in grind rails.
I've been thinking. Oh, I remember this here. I remember whenever I had considered reworking how to activate the boost, like adding a gate to activate the boost, or building up energy to activate the boost, or something like that. That ended up going nowhere.
Yeah, I remember talking about that.
But I'm glad that went nowhere, because I feel like it would conflict with the Mox system that we're planning on putting in.
I remember like during this time, I remember like Fizz would like saturate the whiteboard channel with like ideas like guys, I have the best idea ever. What about a giant donut? It's just like, okay. And then nothing happened.
You see lies. Excuse me? What do you mean lies?
Oh god. They'll make it without the big.
Big is Infinity Plus. Excuse me. I don't see any lies here. Do you, Reese? I only see perfection.
Oh yeah.
He said move.
Little bit of patter.
He doesn't skedaddle on the ice. He is skedaddling. This is still hilarious.
No matter how many times we look at this, we'll always laugh.
I don't mean to get political, but I think Aaron Weber should stop milking Big the Cat.
How dare you get political on this stream?
I know, right? How dare I talk about Aaron Weber, the most important person on Earth?
For the Sonic fandom? Yes.
Alright, enough of that. Let's see here. What was this one? Oh, you were right, Daniel. This is the rails.
Yeah.
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 This was actually a pretty big development. Naka allowed us to use his rails. And I have since then uprooted and reworked his rails. They are now almost completely different. Almost.
Technically not his rails at this point.
And we'll continue to do so until we can sell the code for it for $20.
Shadow and I have torn apart the rail code and reworked it to be much better, more efficient on your computer, and less buggy. I would say less buggy. It used to be less buggy, but it's gotten buggy again. But that's just because we've changed how things interact with each other. This here was something you put together, Emmanuel.
Yes. We took it out for now, though.
Yeah.
It's just the camera splines.
This will be coming back in a different form. We have a different idea on how we want to bring this back. It won't be like this though, more than likely. But it was meant to be a moving dynamic camera that moved along a spline. What was... Oh, this was a thing that I posted on Twitter. I'm not going to mess with it now, though. Major update, the grind rails. Oh, that's right. You couldn't boost on rails. And I slapped together a hacky way of allowing you to do so. That's since been changed and improved upon. If I remember right, this year's the rail switching, which me and you, Reese, didn't you and I work on this? Like the rail switching?
I didn't work on the rail switching.
Oh.
Yeah, I just woke up one day and you had it done.
Yeah, I don't remember working on that either.
I know I worked on it, but I thought I worked on it with someone else.
Definitely wasn't me.
It might have been Shadow. Shadow and I might have worked on it. Those were some of the Game Jolt demos we released. Oh, this was right at Sage.
That was Sage last year. Oh god.
Yeah, this was Sage last
what
year.
We had. That's what we had for Sage last year. We
It
were only
was.
at that point.
Yeah,
That is
we didn't have.
bad.
It's just like this year.
God,
Then
no,
there's
the amount of
Project.
stuff we've added.
This was whenever we reworked the robots into the master class system, if I remember right.
Yep.
I think so.
I remember Reese talking about he wanted to do that, and then I was like, "Oh, you did it." I was like, "Oh, nice."
I like that. I like that game.
I did it.
Uh-oh.
Long time no see, Sonic.
Yeah.
My loathsome copy.
Oh.
Oh, ready for another Sonic clone?
That was another Sonic clone.
Me and Hess actually put that together. Me and Hess put that one together. That was pretty cool.
I remember Hess working on the eyes for it, I think.
Yep. You remember this, Emmanuel?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, don't you remember this?
Oh god.
Oh god, don't show me my old work. Oh god. Yeah. So, fun fact: the reason why the Sonic Boom got in the game was, remember how I said Fizz will just come up random, just ideas randomly, just post them on Discord. One of them was essentially the Sonic Boom. He said, "Imagine a spin dash mixed with a boost on crack, awesome, and also like kills Hitler or something." I forgot, but
I did not. I don't remember ever saying it kills Hitler, but okay.
Well, it probably would. But the point is, we put that. Me and Hez decided to put that together as sort of a surprise for Fizz because we thought it'd be cool to make. See, Tiger gets it. It could kill Hitler.
It would kill anyone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure getting hit by this would kill anybody. So
a stake to the heart. Who wouldn't that kill?
Sonic ends the Holocaust. That's the next game. This was actually a surprise. Do
I dare say the third storybook adventure?
The third storybook.
No, oh god.
Sonic ends the Holocaust. Oh god, no. Moving on.
There's so many things we could say, but we can't. Let's just move on.
Yeah, the Sonic Boom was an ability I tossed into our whiteboard chat, which is a chat we have for throwing out random ideas. Sounds like a fanfic.
Probably is.
It probably exists. I threw this out. I explained it. I'm like, it would be really cool. I would like to work on it, but it's not a priority. So I just want to put it up here for reference. And then one day I wake up, I come up here, and fucking Emmanuel posts a video of him and a functioning Sonic Boom ability in his copy of the project. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I think it wasn't immediately, but it was it's like, what was it? A couple of weeks later, a month later, you finally poured it into the main build.
Yeah, I wanted to do it before you noticed, but Reese me and Hess sort of just gave up the act after a while.
Yeah. But I had no idea that this ability was being worked on.
I don't know. This Reese and Hess have similar sounds to me, I guess.
It's because they have S in the name.
I'm a snack.
Snack. This was the Forge release.
Oh, the Forge that included Blaze.
Yep.
And metal.
When we released Blaze, what date was that?
Yeah.
There's a long ass thing.
Oh yeah, I remember your videos used to just be you talking.
Yeah, they did. They were just me talking.
Yeah.
I still go back and rewatch this from time to time. I really like how I put this together. I was excited as shit for this reveal.
Oh yeah, remember when Rolling was new?
Remember when Rolling was new? Toot toot sound. So many. This was like the big secret I wanted to keep of Infinity Plus, because a lot of people were disappointed that Infinity Engine didn't have any rolling mechanics in it, and I had decided very early on that we wanted to add rolling, but we weren't sure if we could get it functioning. And people kept asking if we were ever going to add rolling physics. Like, we got the question quite frequently, like, hey, is rolling ever going to be a thing in Infinity Plus? And I would always say, I don't know, because we didn't know. But at one point in time, we did actually know for a fact it was going to be in, but I didn't want to give up the act.
It took a while to get to that point, because rolling has so far been one of the hardest features to ever like put in singularly.
Yeah.
Because remember, initially it was just a ball.
It was just a ball. We started out by just getting a ball and giving it ball physics, but we figured out real quickly that's not what we needed to do at all. But me, like, this is how complicated it was. Me, Shadow, and Emmanuel, and I would consider Shadow much more intelligent than I am in terms of, like, mathematical equations and physics and things like that. He is much smarter than I am. We had all of our brains racked on this one. we were all like, how do we get this how we need it to be? And,
yeah, I remember the stages. First, we tried the ball, that didn't work. We're like, this is fucking dumb, and you almost wanted to drop it at the moment. I remember, because you're like, I don't think it's gonna work. And then I was like, why don't we just, like, someone was like, well, let's just hack the calculator. Let's see how other people do it. So we pretty much learned from, I think, either Dash Engine or like another Sonic fan game of how they calculate it. And essentially it was just like, you know, take the slope and do calculations on it. And then you and Shadow just kind of started running with that.
Tiger said he's happy with how the rolling is right now, and that we did a good job. I think we did a good job too, and thank you for that.
Yeah, it's not perfect. We're still probably going to tweak it, but it's not to power stuff in the bag. It's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't think it's as robust as GT Demo. I still think that even to this day, GT Demo has better rolling physics. I don't know if we'll ever have better rolling physics than GT Demo. And I'm specifying GT Demo. I don't think Hedge Physics has all that great of rolling physics, but GT Demo has some pretty spot-on rolling physics right there. You know?
Yeah. Also Utopia and maybe I'm not sure about Dash.
I don't know about Dash. I don't like Dash's rolling physics because they're not really rolling physics. You have to set it to be in a specific rolling physics volume, or like a specific physics volume to allow for rolling.
Yeah. I mean, it's still rolling. Like, we're not trying to bad talk Dash, or yeah.
I don't want to bad talk Dash at all because
they helped us out.
Dash did help us out. I did talk to Galaxy Software, and I also talked to Supersonic 98. Was that their name? They made the original
Bumper.
Green Hill Paradise. What?
We also do Bumper.
Yeah, they made the original Bumper engine, and they worked on, what was the fan game, like Green Hill
Paradise.
Green Hill Paradise. I talked to them directly.
Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Yeah. I talked to them directly about how they did the rolling physics in their fan game, because the rolling physics in that game was pretty good too. And once I got a better understanding on how they did it, it was actually fucking hilarious, because they told me how they did it, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, why didn't we just do that? That is so much simpler. That is clearly the direction we need to go. Why didn't we think of that? And it felt really stupid. But
and
it didn't.
You had a system that pretty much did what you needed.
Yeah.
All along.
Well, are you talking about Speed Shift?
Yes.
Yeah. Speed Shift was Emmanuel's idea, actually.
Yeah. Well, the idea for Speed Shift was your idea, but like I remember you couldn't get it. Like it was more so like you were messing with it, and like it was really wonky. Like you'll go up a cliff and then you like just stop and shit. And I was like, let me take a look at it, and I just tweaked it a bit so you'll actually like go on slopes properly and stuff. And I remember you made a test level for me to test it around in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, how am I going to control this thing? And I was like, wait, speed shift. And I just slapped it in there and it just worked. I'm like, okay, we work with this for now.
The test level here, the one that we're using now is our default debug room. I initially just created this to test rolling physics. That's what a lot of this stuff out here is just for testing rolling physics. And we're probably going to continue expanding on it just to have fun with it. But
Yeah.
I remember Shadow and I put together all the physics calculations needed for the rolling, but I couldn't get it to properly interact with how Sonic controlled. And you got the idea of adjusting it slightly and then essentially, you know, slapping fucking the speed shift function into it, and it worked amazing. Like, I woke up one day and I looked at what Emmanuel had done and I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking great. And then Emmanuel managed to, like, you know, get it into the main build. And I think, what was it, Reese? You and I and, like, Emmanuel, we sat there and just played with it for, like, a long-ass time just because it was so fun.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And this is around the time I got the nickname of just Spaghetti, because a lot of the code I put together for it just ended up looking like spaghetti due to the visual nature of the code.
My food's turned
And
back.
that just began my long reign of making spaghettified code that somehow works when it shouldn't. Because let me tell you this now, viewers. Fizz just left. Let me just tell you
Yeah,
this
great
now.
time.
Rolling shouldn't work, honestly, but it does. Like, there's literally one part of the code, like, I would specify it, but we don't have the time for it. There's part of the code that I don't know how it works, but I somehow got it to work, and I just don't touch it.
Sorry,
And
I went to go grab
that's
my
just
food.
that's just how my code works. It just works, even though it probably shouldn't. And that's why Infinity Plus sucks. Thank you.
So Tiger said,
Mhm.
as
That's
GT has better everything overall. As in, Infinity might be better in some aspects, but GT looks complete as a
Oh,
game.
definitely.
Yeah,
Especially as a game.
GT is complete as a game. He did not give me my fucking drink. I swear to God.
Yeah, because Infinity Plus isn't really... It's not a game per se. Right now it's still an engine. So we haven't really made levels and stuff like that.
We're probably not going to, but...
Yeah. But in terms of like a game, GT is much more complete. But in many ways, it's more limited, which isn't a bad thing. Like, I think GT is amazing so far. And like, it has a lot of things that, like, I'm like, man, they did that really well. Like, we probably can't even compete exactly. But, you know, they have a different goal than what Infinity Plus is going for.
They didn't even give me my food. They fucking... I ordered food, and they didn't give me half of it.
Kidding me?
Where's the other half of my fucking food? It didn't get added to the order. I'm just gonna order again and actually order the other half of what I wanted. Oh well.
Can't you, like, phone up about that? That sounds like a thing you could phone up and complain about.
No, the fucking app bugged out and it didn't actually add what I thought I added to the order. It failed to add what I thought I added, but it didn't. So I'm just gonna reorder it. So I didn't actually pay for anything because it didn't actually get added to the order, which is stupid. But yeah. To move on from the rolling code. Around this time, Sonic movie news was being posted. What is this? Oh, this was the skydive trigger. We're starting to get a lot closer to where we are now.
Yep. Alright. Pretty sure Sage was one of our last major ones we did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, Reforge was after Sage, wasn't it, man?
Yeah, the Forge was after Sage. At least they gave me my fries, so I'm probably gonna eat my fries in the meantime. That was the skydive, and that was just animations and bug fixes, and then I remember posting this bug fix. What was this?
Oh, that's my bad.
That's my bad.
I am going to have to get going soon.
How dare you?
Who's the drift? Early versions of the drift.
Oh, that's in
That's when we-
February.
That's when we started using the new debug room as well.
Oh, this is... Oh, that's the old Seagate. That's whenever we threw this together,
Oh,
which is
there's
still
someone.
there.
There's
Say what?
someone hiding
There is
in that
someone
image.
hiding in this image.
I remember working on a drift like while I was at work, and I asked my coworkers like, "How should I get this done?" And they gave me some advice about it with vectors. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that works."
Oh yeah, this was the home attack rework. Actually, this was the second home attack rework, if I remember right.
Yeah, this was more so like back end stuff.
Yeah, this is definitely closer to developer stuff.
Are you drinking a frappe? How dare you?
It's a shake.
That's even worse.
I'm drinking a chocolate shake. I had to then later adjust
Oh
this.
god, I just saw the flame particles.
Oh,
You remember the little flame particles that I had for the flamethrower?
just little bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
God, I completely forgot about those.
Little bubble flames.
Managed to immediately upgrade them when I decided to change them.
Was this the first time we announced Tails?
No.
I'm sure we had mentioned Tails beforehand, but
Oh, you're doing the first live stream.
that probably was the case.
I still have those sheets on my Google Drive somewhere.
I was the homing dodge. Yeah, we're getting to a lot more recent stuff. I think.
God, the
Oh,
homing
that
dodge.
is right. Tiger's right. I did accidentally leak Tails on stream.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, didn't you play a level and then you spawned in as the wrong character and you immediately backed out and you're like, I shouldn't have done that.
I think so. I think that's what I did.
Yeah, he just oofed.
Then didn't you yell at me or something for that? You're like, God damn it, Reese.
I think I yelled at somebody for that because whoever was
Yeah.
messing with it last didn't change the character, but it was also
I think it
partially
was
my
me.
fault for not double checking it. So
I just love that.
that's not
Yeah,
gonna
it was-
load, but that's the spline system we got from Galaxy Software.
Yeah, this is when when we started having way more free time to work on everything. Because especially when Tails Knuckles started getting added in, that's when we really started getting to work.
Then COVID struck.
Yep.
Oh, COVID struck, and then we got to work because now we're like, oh, we're home all the time.
Here's early Tails work.
Oh yes, look at that flying animation.
That was
God.
before God mode Tails. No, this is God
No.
mode Knuckles. We've got
way
God
he's,
mode Knuckles
keep
going
frozen.
on.
Oh. We didn't even have them animated. Oh, beautiful.
He glide.
Now you see. Jesus, Knuckles.
Jesus Knuckles. I love that.
Oh,
He died for emeralds.
why would you do that?
He came back after the 7th emerald was collected.
Oof. Oh god.
Oh my god, remember these early multiplayer tests?
Yep.
Oh.
The multiplayer code is still there. Idling. But
Still not working.
it's not. Yeah, not working.
Satan Sonic with the Sonic Boom. Oh yeah. Back when Sonic Boom was broken.
Oh yeah,
When people
people
flew
jumped
out
down
of
our
the
throats about
stages,
that.
They
in
did.
the first stage, and Infinity Plus broken, Infinity Plus bad.
There were a lot of people who thought that. Like, obviously we're exaggerating slightly, but there were a lot of people who legitimately were like, oh, Sonic Boom broke and Infinity Plus bad.
Yep. Good times.
We're like,
good
shut
times.
up.
Good times.
Stop bringing it up. We're working on it. Go on.
What was...
You're about to get into May release territory.
Yeah, we're getting more recent stuff, so...
This was the menu theme showing off, wasn't it?
Yeah. Which we're
It was
not
showing
done
off
with
all
this,
the
by the
menu
way.
themes.
We're going to be doing more with this. Not ready to show off what it is that we're going to be doing with it, but
God, yeah, that's the old one before we got our graphic designers.
Yep. How
Yeah, our graphic
stretched out
design-
that Sonic Adventure 2 logo is.
Yeah.
Oh,
By the
yeah.
way, like I'm not. I guess they may never hear this, but our graphic designers have been doing work.
Have they been doing work? Like, God, really?
Yeah, like no, we're not talking about animators. Like our graphic designers have been like putting in work. They've given us a
Oh,
ton
yeah.
of assets.
Our graphic designers are amazing. They have
Yeah.
they've been putting in so much work. They have been very understanding about what it is that we need. We describe something and they'll usually give us an idea of what it would look like, and even then like they'll also be like, hey, what about this instead? And we'd be like, oh yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it. So
Yeah, like we'll have proper discussions about what we want to add in. Who are the ones we're talking to? I think it was Fit Marshmallow, Rocket, and I think Requiem.
Fit Marshmallow, who is, I believe he's busy with school. He's still in high school, so he's not been as active lately. Requiem,
He still joins in though every now and then.
yeah, Requiem joins in quite a bit too. I believe he has a job that he still has to work, but he's done a lot of great work. And then there's Rocket, who does a lot of great work as well. She's been very helpful. Uh-oh. Hold on, before we do that, this year was whenever we reworked the wall sliding code, which didn't you just do out of nowhere, Emmanuel?
Yeah,
Without permission?
yeah. I
That's-
added in the
that's
Boolean so they
manual.
could turn it off, and then I kind of said, "Well, we could turn it on. People don't like it," and I was like, "Please like it, guys."
This is the shit I have to work with. I wake up one day, I come in, and Emmanuel has added, like, fucking Mephiles into the thing and didn't
No, you
confront
woke up-
anyone about it.
I remember one day you woke up and Blaze was added because I just decided to throw her in.
These are the people I work with, okay? I wake up, and the next thing I know, fucking Sonic actually does have a dong slider. And I would not have been any the wiser. I've been like, why are you guys working on this? They are good people. I've been working with amazing people.
Yeah, I'm sorry for adding in
Aw.
features. God,
I wasn't
Thanks,
being
bro.
sarcastic. I was being sincere when I said that.
oh, thanks, bro.
He's being sarcastic when he said he works with amazing people. Not really joking.
But yeah,
Nah, I was being sarcastic.
but that,
Well,
was
there
that
goes
was
my career.
That was really cool. I liked the idea, and I remember you kept like tossing the idea at me. And I'm like, I'm not sure about it. I don't want to focus on it. And then you throw that at me. I'm like, God damn it, Emmanuel. All right, let's go with it.
Yeah, like this is how I convince Fizz. I know he won't just go with an idea sometimes unless it's really good. I have to like just go into the game and see if he likes it sometimes. And then he's like, you know what, this works. I'm like, yes.
You did good.
This
Be a
year
good
was
pick.
our first ever footage of the new Seagate that we've ever publicly released.
Mm-hmm. You still have that box.
Oh, yes. The revamped Seagate. Still, I think a lot of people regard as a very top-notch level for being a tutorial level.
Not going to I don't want to pat ourselves on the back too much, but I still think that our Seagate level is probably one of like top 5, maybe even top 3 of the best Infinity fan levels. Just due to like how much care and time we put into polishing it and making it feel alive.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the only thing, one of the things that's holding back is that it's a tutorial level because,
Yeah.
like compared to other Infinity Plus levels, they're mostly just ports. Although Adventure Pack does have some good ones.
You would say first, you'd say it's the best, or like no, when you say first, you mean number 1, or I don't know if I would say it's number 1.
What do you
Because-
think is number 1 then?
Grand Metropolis Zone's really good. I
I
still
was
think
gonna
Grand
say Grand
Metropolis Zone
Metropolis Zone.
holds up very well even to this day. Grand Metropolis Zone's pretty good. I really like the levels that you make, Tiger. I think that those are really great levels. They may not obviously have the same theming that we have or any of the other levels, but just as like little playground levels, I think they're really fun to mess around with.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh, yeah. It's all come together.
oh yeah, it's all coming together. I would
I'll
have
tell
to,
you, ever
I would have
think
to put
about
this in the
working
top
for
3.
us and just like only working for us and nothing more and just making levels for us forever and ever?
I already
Tiger's
asked.
got their own thing. This was just more information released about Knuckles. Like like Knuckles didn't jump quite as high. And then throughout here, we pretty much just keep releasing like little tidbits of information.
Yeah.
Why are you still playing?
Why are you still playing?
And then there's the release of 3 Knuckles, and then after that, we pretty much have caught up to date.
Yeah. And then we're like, hey, we need animators and stuff and graphic designers, and we got more graphic designers.
So, I don't know.
We reached out for help, and we got some good help.
We did get some good help.
Oh, nice seeing you, Tiger.
Was
Good luck with
Tiger
your. Tiger said he has to do other stuff.
He
pretty much
was
done now
replying
anyway.
to. I'm pretty sure he's replying to you, trying to get him to join our team. That he's busy doing other stuff.
It's fine. But I actually do have to get going. I have to pick someone up. So I'll let you guys finish off the
They
stream.
can survive without you. You stay here.
But nice talking with you guys and going through all those.
Don't you leave.
Don't you leave?
Don't you do it.
I'll do it.
I will burn your spaghetti.
I'm sure I can do it again.
No.
Did he just leave?
Yep.
No. Emmanuel got snapped out of existence. That was a fun trip to memory lane. I enjoy going back and looking at what we've done so far. It's a good reminder to see how far we've gotten today, and a good motivator to keep going. It is always nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
With any type of thing, even like with art, always keep your old work. So you can look back and be like, wow, I was shit.
Now we've got Silver functioning. We've got Tails and Knuckles. I just spit all over my keyboard.
Don't do that.
I'd be here for like an hour listing all the things that we've added to Infinity Engine. I don't want to, like, put down the Max and Atom builds and the builds that, Noto works on. Because they're still amazing builds. They're a lot more, like, minimalistic, and a lot more people use them simply because they're a lot more minimalistic. But, I still like all the work that we've done, and I still like all the things that we've added to Infinity Plus.
Oh yeah. And there's still a little bit left to go.
Yeah, we are.
But we are getting there.
We are slowly but
Pretty sure.
surely getting close to the end.
All good things must come to an end.
Yep. But yeah. Anyway, I think that we're probably going to be good for the stream today.
Yep.
When Emmanuel left.
When Emmanuel left. So,
I'll have to send that one to
What was
Emmanuel. I love those memes. I don't know what it is. It's like someone dead meme.
oh, and
Those always get me. I don't know why. I fucking love that meme. God damn it, Tiger. I love those memes.
great time, Tiger.
But I think that's going to be it for the stream today. It's been about 2 hours, which is usually how long we go for. We went over everything we wanted to. We took a trip down memory lane. I think that we're going to move forward in a pretty good fashion. I still don't know how we're going to go about with the perch thing. I don't think we're going to end up, at the end of the day, I don't think we're going to end up including the perch, or at least the perch extended abilities. We might include the perch itself as just like a fun little toy during Sage, but I don't think we're going to include any of the extended perch abilities into Sage. I think we're going to focus on polishing up what we do have for Sage before we move on, which I'll have to discuss with Emmanuel about. But hopefully once Sage rolls around, we
He
can
ain't gonna
actually...
be happy.
He's not going to be happy about it. He really wants to work on the other stuff with the perch, but we need to slow down a little bit on that. But
He'll be understanding.
yep,
Emmanuel's cool with that.
we're growing ever so closer to Sage. So the next dev stream will be on the 17th, as per usual, every other Monday, which is actually the day after my mom's birthday. So I will probably be
very nice.
I will be busy that weekend because my
I'll take over.
stepdad's birthday's on the 15th and my mom's birthday's on the 16th. They're literally like 1 day apart and 1 year apart. So I'm probably going to be calling and spending some time with them on like call and such, because I don't think I'm going to be flying out.
No.
But the 17th is going to be the next dev stream. We hope to see everybody there. Of course, obviously join in the Discord and give your thoughts and opinions on stuff. And this video is going to be uploaded next Monday, as per usual. And until then, we will see everybody next time.
See you all later.